So I got something super cool for you today on the importance of mindfulness and being present in the moment. I've been like thinking about this topic a lot lately, and I really wanted to dive into it with someone who actually knows what they're talking about. You know?
Oh, I'm absolutely thrilled we're covering mindfulness today. It's it's something that has completely transformed my approach to, well, basically everything in life. And in our crazy busy world where everyone's constantly distracted, this might be like the most important skill we can develop.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I feel like everyone's always talking about mindfulness and being present, but do we actually understand what that means in like real life? I mean, I scroll through my phone probably 100 times a day and then wonder where all my time went.
Right, right. And that's the thing about mindfulness. It's not just some fancy concept or, something only monks practice. It's this incredibly practical tool that can help us actually experience our lives instead of just rushing through them. I'm seriously excited to break this down today.
I've got so many questions for you about this whole mindfulness thing, especially because I think I might be like the least mindful person I know sometimes. My mind is always racing with a million thoughts.
Trust me, you're definitely not alone in that. Most people feel exactly the same way. And that's why talking about this is so important. I'm really looking forward to sharing some simple ways we can all become more present without having to completely overhaul our lives.
So I think we should probably start with the basics here. What what does mindfulness actually mean? Like in everyday terms that someone like me could actually wrap my head around, you know?
Absolutely. So, mindfulness is really just about being fully present and engaged with whatever you're doing at any given moment. It's paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, sensations, and surroundings without, judging them or getting caught up in them. Think of it like this. Have you ever driven somewhere and then realized you don't remember any part of the drive?
Oh my gosh, that happens to me all the time. It's like I'm on autopilot or something.
Exactly. That's the opposite of mindfulness. When you're mindful, you're actually noticing the feeling of your hands on the steering wheel, the sound of the music, the color of the sky. You're actually experiencing the drive, not just getting through it.
That makes sense. But isn't that basically the same as meditation? Like sitting cross-legged and saying om and stuff?
That's such a common misunderstanding. So, meditation is a practice that can help develop mindfulness, but mindfulness itself is something you can bring to any activity. I was washing dishes last night, and instead of rushing through it while thinking about my to-do list, I really focused on the sensation of the warm water, the smell of the soap, the sound of splashing. That's mindfulness.
Wow, so it's something you can do like any time, not just in a special mindfulness session?
Exactly, exactly. It's not about setting aside special time, though that can be helpful too. It's about bringing a certain quality of attention to everything you do. Like, when I'm talking with you right now, I'm trying to really listen instead of just planning what I'm going to say next. That's mindfulness in action.
That sounds so simple, but I'm guessing it's harder than it sounds.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Our minds are, programmed to wander. Studies show people spend almost 50% of their waking hours thinking about something other than what they're actually doing. And this constant mind wandering actually makes us less happy. When we're present, we tend to enjoy things more, even routine activities. That's the real power of mindfulness.
So I'm really interested in the actual benefits here. I mean, we're always told mindfulness is good for us, but what are the tangible ways it actually helps people? Like, what changes in your life?
Oh, this is where it gets really exciting. So the benefits are they're incredible, really. First and foremost, there's stress reduction. When you practice mindfulness regularly, your body actually produces less cortisol, which is that stress hormone that makes us feel all wound up. And studies have shown that just 8 weeks of consistent practice can literally change the structure of your brain in areas related to stress response.
Wait, it actually changes your brain. That's pretty wild.
Totally. The science on this is fascinating. There's this part of your brain called the amygdala. It's like your emotional alarm system. And mindfulness practice has been shown to reduce its activity. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for rational thinking and decision-making, becomes more active. So you're literally rewiring your brain to be less reactive and more responsive.
What about focus? I feel like everyone's attention span is just getting worse these days.
You're spot on there. This is a huge benefit. Mindfulness is it's like a gym workout for your attention span. When you practice staying present, you're actually training your brain to notice when it wanders and gently bring it back. And research from places like, Harvard and UCLA shows that regular practitioners have significantly better concentration and can stay on task longer without getting distracted.
So less stress, better focus. What else?
Emotional regulation is a big one. You know when you get really angry or upset and later think, why did I react that way? Mindfulness creates this little space between stimulus and response. So instead of just reacting automatically, you have this moment where you can choose how to respond. It's like having a superpower where you can pause life for a second before deciding what to do.
I could definitely use that superpower at work.
Right? And don't even get me started on the physical benefits. Lower blood pressure, improved sleep quality, reduced chronic pain. There's even evidence it boosts your immune system. Some hospitals are actually prescribing mindfulness practices alongside traditional treatments now because the results are so impressive.
It almost sounds too good to be true. Like, how can just paying attention differently have all these effects?
I get that skepticism. But think about it this way. Most of our suffering comes from either dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. When you're truly present, you're free from that mental time travel, and your body responds accordingly. No stress chemicals being pumped out, no tension building up in your muscles. You're just here. And being here turns out to be really good for us on every level.
So, I'm really curious about the actual techniques, like what are some simple mindfulness practices that people could start using right away, especially for beginners who might be thinking, I don't have time for this.
So I got something super cool for you here. Really practical stuff that anyone can do, no matter how busy they are. The thing is, mindfulness doesn't have to be this formal, complicated practice. One of my absolute favorite techniques is what I call mindful minutes. And it's exactly what it sounds like. You just take 1 minute, that's it, to focus completely on your breathing, in and out. And when your mind wanders, because it will, you just gently bring it back to your breath.
Just 1 minute? That actually sounds doable, but how do you remember to do it throughout the day?
Great question. I like to attach these mindful minutes to things I already do every day, like right after I brush my teeth, or before I eat lunch, or when I first sit down at my desk. Creating these little triggers helps make it a habit. Another technique that's super effective is the 5-4-3-2-1 sensory exercise. You basically notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. It's like it immediately grounds you in the present moment.
That's really interesting. I feel like I could do that when I'm stuck in traffic or waiting in line somewhere.
Exactly. That's the perfect time. And speaking of waiting, another technique is to transform waiting time into mindfulness time. Instead of pulling out your phone when you're waiting for the elevator or standing in line for coffee, just take that time to check in with yourself. How's your body feeling? What thoughts are running through your mind? Just observe without judgment. You know what I mean?
What about during work? I'm sure a lot of our listeners have super busy schedules with back-to-back meetings.
Oh, work is actually the perfect place for mindfulness. Try what I call the mindful transition. Between tasks or meetings, take just 30 seconds to close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths before moving on to the next thing. It's like pressing a reset button for your brain. And another really simple one is mindful listening. During conversations, really focus on listening completely to the other person instead of thinking about what you're going to say next. It's amazing how much this improves both your presence and your relationships.
That's actually a hard one for me. I'm always thinking ahead to my next point.
Most people do that. But when you practice mindful listening, you'll find that your responses become more authentic and thoughtful. You don't need to plan them out. And for super busy people, mindful walking is fantastic. Just pay attention to the sensation of your feet touching the ground, the movement of your legs, the rhythm of your breathing. You can do this walking to the bathroom or to your car. No extra time needed.
So these are all things we can basically weave into our existing routines?
Absolutely. That's the beauty of mindfulness. It's not about adding another thing to your to-do list. It's about bringing a different quality of attention to what you're already doing. Even something as simple as drinking your morning coffee or tea can become a mindfulness practice if you fully focus on the sensations. the warmth of the cup, the aroma, the taste, instead of gulping it down while checking your email, right?
Um, I think one thing that's always confused me about mindfulness is, isn't it basically just meditation? Like, don't you need to be sitting cross-legged with your eyes closed to do it properly?
Oh, that's actually one of the biggest misconceptions. So many people think mindfulness and meditation are the same thing, but they're not. Meditation is like, it's a formal practice, right? But mindfulness is simply paying attention to the present moment without judgment. You can be mindful while doing literally anything, washing dishes, talking to a friend, or even just walking down the street. No special posture required.
That's actually really helpful. I always thought I needed to carve out this special time and space.
Exactly. And that brings me to another huge myth, the idea that mindfulness takes a ton of time. Like we discussed with those techniques, you can practice mindfulness in just 30 seconds or a minute. It's not about duration, it's about quality of attention.
I've also heard people say that the goal of mindfulness is to clear your mind completely. Is that true?
Oh gosh, that's perhaps the most frustrating misconception of all. The goal is absolutely not to empty your mind or stop thinking. That's just not how our brains work. The real purpose is to become aware of your thoughts without getting caught up in them. It's like, imagine standing on the side of a road watching cars go by. The cars are your thoughts, and you're just observing them pass without jumping into every vehicle. You know what I mean?
I actually used to think I was failing at mindfulness because my mind wouldn't shut up.
You and practically everyone else. And that's why so many people give up before they really get started. They think, my mind is too busy for this, when actually noticing that your mind is busy is mindfulness working. Another big myth is that mindfulness is just a relaxation technique. While it can definitely help you relax, that's not the primary purpose. It's about awareness and presence, which sometimes might actually mean noticing uncomfortable feelings or thoughts.
That makes sense. I think I also had this idea that mindfulness was this very spiritual or religious practice.
That's a super common misconception too. While mindfulness does have roots in Buddhist traditions, the practices we use today are totally secular. There's tons of scientific research backing its benefits for mental health, focus, and emotional regulation. It's basically a brain training technique at this point, right? You don't need to adopt any specific beliefs to benefit from it.
I also used to think that mindfulness was something you either could do or couldn't do. Like some people were just naturally good at it.
I hear that all the time. I tried mindfulness once and I was terrible at it. But mindfulness is a skill, like playing an instrument or learning a language. Nobody expects to sit down at a piano for the first time and play Beethoven. It takes practice, and everyone starts as a beginner. And actually, the people who think their minds are too busy are often the ones who benefit the most from practicing regularly.
All right. I think we've covered a lot of ground today in our discussion about mindfulness. So, to kind of wrap things up, what would you say are the most important takeaways for our listeners?
Oh, absolutely. I think the biggest thing to remember is that mindfulness isn't some fancy, complicated practice. It's really just about being present in whatever you're doing. And the beauty of it is that you can practice it anywhere, anytime, during any activity. You don't need special equipment or, hours of free time. Just a willingness to pay attention to the present moment.
That's such a good point. And I think we also talked about how it's not about clearing your mind completely, right?
Exactly. It's about noticing your thoughts without getting totally caught up in them. And remember, everyone's mind wanders. That's totally normal. The practice is just gently bringing your attention back when you notice it's drifted off. No judgment needed.
I'm definitely going to try incorporating some of those simple techniques we discussed into my daily routine, maybe starting with that breathing exercise or the mindful walking.
That's perfect, Jake. Start small, maybe just 1 minute a day, and then build from there. Consistency is way more important than duration, And be patient with yourself. This is a skill that develops over time. The benefits we talked about, reduced stress, better focus, improved emotional regulation, they come gradually as you practice.
So, for next week's episode of The Importance of Mindfulness and Being Present in the Moment, what topic are we diving into?
So I got something super cool for you and our listeners next week. We're going to explore mindful eating and how our relationship with food can be transformed through presence. It's something that affects literally everyone. And I think people will be surprised by how much their experience with food can change when they bring mindfulness to the table, literally.
I'm already looking forward to it. Thanks everyone for listening. Remember to give these mindfulness techniques a try. Even just a minute a day can make a difference. See you next week.
Bye, everyone. Stay present out there.